you close your eyes and I said the word darkness or sad, and you just become aware of the thoughts or feelings that come into your mind, I didn't say anything else besides that one word. There's probably thoughts, images, memories, but then if I say a word like love or yes or light or whatever, similarly, there's different thoughts, different feelings that come. And so I think we forget sometimes that even subconscious, we might be thinking something that is harmful, that is negative. If we walk around saying, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so stressed. I mean, every time we see a friend, it's become not a pet peeve, but I've just really become aware of anytime you run into someone, oh, how are you doing? Oh, it's just so crazy. I'm just so busy. The things that we say about our lives that really just helps more of that come into our life.
Right. Well, and first of all, I got the chills when you said that. I mean, like I felt when you said sad, you know, those negative words, I felt a shift. I wonder if you did too. So it just absolutely is true. But where our focus grows. And so our self-talk,
Amen.
what we're seeing matters. If we, just like you said, if we're coming out and saying, oh, I'm just so tired, or I just have no time to do things, those things that are coming out of our mouths, pay attention to them, because if it's negative, those are the thoughts that are stuck in our head, and that is what we are creating to show up in our life.
Yeah.
So if you want, I mean, I think this is such a powerful thing to remember. If you're, setting out your year and you want to create more success, more happiness, more joy, whatever it is that you've thought of, that you're thinking about, the first thing you need to do is you got to look at what your thoughts are about that, what you're saying. Yeah. And that's why I think I just love meditation and mindfulness, whichever you're practicing, both all the time are wonderful and necessary, but it's helping us to get right back to our thoughts.
Yeah.
One thing that I often talk about is our thoughts create our feelings, and then our feelings create our actions.
Yes.
So if we want to have different actions in our life, different results, we got to come back to looking at, well, how do we feel about that? And whatever we're feeling, well, what was I thinking? Because that thought's creating the feeling. And so with meditation, that's our chance to change our thinking at a really subconscious level, because that's the trick, right? Is getting into that wiring, that autonomic, those pathways. So,
exactly.
And I know you know a lot about that in neuroplasticity, and I mean, she's an expert, guys. She teaches us that.
No, I've had it change my life and love it so much.
Let's talk about that just a little bit. We don't need to go super deep. This isn't a science. You go to Huberman Labs for that stuff. But talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I love what you said about even just thinking about the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, because it can happen subconsciously. You have a feeling, oh, I'm so tired. You have a thought that leads to a thought, oh, my child was up again in the night. They're always up in the night, which then leads to an action. Oh, I'm getting frustrated. I'm mad at my child. Oh, I'm going to have a bad day. It can happen. That spiral can take you down a negative path without even thinking about it.
Before you know it, it's just like a thief in the night.
Totally.
Just derailing all your success.
But when you choose a different thought, that spiral can take you upward, which is so beautiful. So I could have that same feeling, oh, I'm so tired. But if I choose, even if the first thought comes, oh, my child was up again in the night. Oh, my child, I just told that they could sleep. But then if I just say no, and gratitude works so perfect here to say like, okay, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful they were only up twice instead of 4 times the night before. Wow, they're getting better at their sleeping. Oh, you feel then hopeful. You see how it just like then that action, that thought, that feeling, it just spirals you up, which is so beautiful. And it just takes a little bit of practice. Just like you said, it's those neurons that are firing. And if they're always firing negative thoughts, then that's what's going to connect. But if I can practice the positive, and like I said, gratitude is a great one to practice here, because if you think of it as, it might not come in the moment, but if at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, I'm taking some time to think about some things that I'm grateful for, it's going to start happening in those moments. It's going to become a little bit more automatic, which is so beautiful. It's something you can develop and your brain will go there.
Yeah. Well, I've always said gratitude is just a shortcut back to happiness. It's such a great
That's a
life
great
hack.
way to say it.
It really is, because at any point in time, you can take a pause. I mean, it's something where I have a practice of praying in the morning and praying at night before going to bed, and starting both of those prayers off with gratitude. You know, I mean, it's a great way to bring those to our forefront and starting my day. But gratitude is something you can think of at the stoplight. You know, we can think of while we're cooking. I mean, at any time you catch yourself feeling sad or feeling not enough or feeling things aren't working out, that you could always return to gratitude, and it can just get you. It's like a little bit of a reset button.
I love to think of it as like railroad tracks, you know, when the train's going right here and then you have that lever that you could pull that takes you this way or takes you that way. I feel like gratitude is the one that you're going down this path. It's going to be a bad day or whatever, to be like, no, I'm going to shift.
Yes.
I'm going to go this way instead. Thinking about something I'm grateful to. I feel like it gets a bad rap, almost just like, oh yeah, sure, try a gratitude journal, or oh yeah, just come up with I'm grateful for. But it is a power. It is amazing.
Well, that's often how it goes. Like the simplest of things we avoid and we don't do. But they are the most powerful things that can have such a huge effect on our life. So don't ignore it. Don't ignore these simple things. In fact, keeping it simple, the KISS method is always so effective.
Yeah.
We don't have to overcomplicate things and really make it easy.
Don't take our word for it. Experiment on it. Just try it. Try it yourself. And even a little tiny bit of gratitude can go a really long way.
Okay, so in addition to what we talked about, there's many other health benefits. Let's just list some of them out that you can get.
For sure. From meditation and mindfulness.
Meditation and mindfulness.
Yes.
I know you can get better sleep.
Reduce your stress, better circulation, better health, better mental health, obviously, less anxiety, less depression. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to just Google. The list is so long. Benefits of mindfulness and meditation. And like I said, even just trying a little bit allows you to experience that firsthand almost immediately.
So I know you work with a lot of clients, teach a lot of classes in schools, online. We're going to have to put some links for you to be able to find her. But share with us, like, maybe just a story or two or something that comes to mind of how you, like, the types of issues you're helping people resolve. Because I know you're doing that with people and their mental health, and it is such a problem right now. Mental health issues plaguing people. I know your family's really involved, your husband's work in that as well. What are some of the things you're finding?
Yeah, sure. I think probably the majority of the examples I share from my own personal life, because that's where I've experienced the most. I actually have one child who she has just become, and I'll probably get emotional, she has just been such a gift because she has allowed me to use and practice these tools of mindfulness. Maybe a brief story.
Yes.
I went in, she's older now, but she was in second grade. I went into parent-teacher conference sitting across from the teacher, and the teacher looks at me and she says, oh, she is just the golden child of the classroom. She is always on task. She's so obedient. She's so kind. She just starts listing things off. And
dream.
And I literally just sat there like this, and I said 3 times in that conversation, oh, I'm so glad she's like that for you. Oh, I'm so glad she's like that for you. She's my hardest child at home. She's my hardest child at home. And I just sat there, wow, that's great. I walked out of that classroom, Callie, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. You are choosing to see her that way. Wow. And I just lost it, just sitting there in the hallway at the school, just crying like, I am making my life harder by choosing to see those things in my child. And so I went home, and because I've practiced a lot of these tools of mindfulness, here's a couple you could try. I decided that, and she had called her, she's the golden child of the classroom. And this is my daughter that has golden hair. It's like this beautiful brown gold color, and her eyes are like a light brown gold. And I was like, She's my golden girl.
Yes.
And so I wrote in my little notebook that I have by my bed how she has been my golden girl today. And I just set an intention of every night, I'm going to write at least one thing, one way that she's been my golden girl that day. I'm going to look for that. And then I decided I'm going to call her my golden girl. And in my morning meditation, super simple, super brief, I would just visualize her face in front of me. And I would just say, my golden girl, you're my golden girl. And I started calling her that. Oh, hey, golden girl. The first couple times she's like, Mom, why are you calling me a golden girl? Like, she was second grade. She was the oldest, she wasn't like she was a toddler. And I was just like, because look at your hair, look at your eyes, you're my golden girl. And after just a couple weeks of this practice, writing that down every night, it was amazing the things I was noticing in her. She was so helpful around the kitchen. She was helping her little brother. I just started seeing that. And what I love, and here's the science behind it, we have something in the back of our brain called our reticular activating system. And that is at the brainstem, the little filter that allows our brains to see and know what is important and worth noting and what isn't. For example, if I'm thinking of buying a new home, trying to sell my home, I probably can tell you which homes are for sale in the neighborhood.
Yes, so you're now looking.
I'm looking for it, right? Versus someone who isn't, and you ask them, are there homes for sale in your neighborhood? They're probably not going to have a clue, right?
Like, I don't know.
Because our brains are so amazing. They can say as we're driving, oh, you don't need to notice that. That's not really important to you right now. Or, home for sale. So just by noticing and looking for that in my daughter, I completely changed my paradigm shift, our relationship, and it has been so beautiful and helpful.
I love this story. It caused me to think of a few things, but one, the story of Pretty Sisters. My sisters calling me pretty. Now I'm sure.
When you told me the story, I thought of that immediately. Like, you thought you were so pretty. You are beautiful. But, from your sisters to say, I'm so pretty. They call me pretty. Yeah, it's so powerful.
It was so powerful growing up that way. And I was wondering, gosh, was I really bad? And they had to come up with that. I don't know that we were smart enough back then to like, we got to switch her behavior. Let's call her pretty. But no, them calling me that was such a gift to me. And, it wasn't about looks. It was just that it was their love for me. Just like you're calling her a golden child. Yes, she had some golden attributes, but it was the way you were loving her and just the feeling that you had towards her that you're putting into words. And that's what my sisters did for me. And then I in turn did it for them. And then we brought in our girlfriends and we called them pretty. And it just grew to where now I'm calling you, listeners, my pretty sisters, because I feel this way about you and I want you to feel this way about yourself and see yourself that way. So powerful how we can shift a whole situation with the way we're looking at it. And it's so true because we often will want other people to change. Like, we'll see the behavior, something that somebody's doing wrong, that's offending us, it's bothering us, and we think they need to fix it. But maybe they do.
Yes.
Maybe there's some bad behavior, and maybe there's some boundaries you have to draw. And of course, I would never be saying you need to put yourself in harm's way or in situations where, you're subjugating yourself to something bad. But oftentimes it's us that, we only have control over ourselves.
We have no control over that.
And the more we can just let them do what they're going to do and not wait. I guess that's the question, is how long do you want to wait for them to fix their behavior?
Yeah, you'll probably be waiting forever.
Yes, and it can steal you or steal from you your time and your happiness, and you're giving power to situations that you don't totally. Where we can take back the power and we can say, okay, and I applaud you for walking out of there realizing, wait a minute, this is me, I can shift something.
Yeah.
And then in turn, it's like a dance. You change the move, she changes the move. And then that is how we often can initiate change, is by first changing ourselves. And that's so powerful.
Honestly, it is the only way to change your life. Any relationship, anything, is to change yourself first.